Hop on over to the Spiritual Broadcast Network. It's the go-to place for all things spiritual. You'll discover internet television shows that you won't find anywhere else. You can also choose from hundreds of hours of spiritual documentaries and movies. You'll enjoy on-demand and live internet television programming 24/7. Best of all, we add new dramas, comedies, talk, and reality shows and more on a daily basis. So why spend countless hours searching the web when you can quickly find just what you want on the Spiritual Broadcast Network?
Hello, my name is Vegananda. I've been teaching yoga around the world for over 30 years, sharing my blessings by offering free yoga classes, currently on the most beautiful beach in America, here in Siesta Key, Florida. Furthering my collaboration to raise personal and planetary consciousness, I now present Beyond the Matrix, a program in which I have thought-provoking conversations with authors, scholars, teachers, and healers who are on the cutting edge of ideas which will inspire, educate, and open our hearts to the multiple ways we can transform our world.
Okay.
My name is Vegananda, and welcome to Beyond the Matrix. This show explores the mysteries of life and empowers you with knowledge concerning your world and your being. Not so very long ago, our primitive ancestors spent most of their days hunting and gathering for food. During the course of a day, they may have sampled dozens, if not hundreds, of food sources. In addition to any animal protein they could snare, they ate a diverse range of roots, leaves, fruits, nuts, berries, beans, mushrooms, and seeds. Now, the average Western diet is much more limited in variety, and as a result, we miss out on the extensive natural pharmacy that is available through food. Food is our natural source of health. We all must eat to live, but does what we put on our plates qualify as food in this new world order of GMOs, toxic chemicals, and food additives, which destroy the natural healing properties of food? And if we decide to go organic, then what we have to contend with is a wide range of food options in the now vast health food market. The question is, what foods are considered truly healthy and essential for producing a strong, energetic, illness-free body? To help answer this question, we have with us in studio Master Chef and Nutrition Counselor, Chef Craig Chasky. Chef Chasky attended Peter Crump Cooking School and Culinary Institute of America. He also studied with Chef Bernard Clafton Jr., Jacques Pepin, as well as James Beard. And over the years, he has cooked for many celebrities such as Jackie Onassis, Salvador Dali, Mick Jagger, Donald Trump, Brooke Shields, just to name a few. Chef Chasky owes his success to his extraordinary skills as a chef, combined with his knowledge about food and nutrition. Welcome to the program, Chef.
Excellent. Great to be here.
Good, good. I'm so excited to have your expertise on our show today.
Thank you.
And when looking at your bio, what I found most compelling, of course, I know that you've cooked with and for so many prestigious people
Yes.
around the world, but it was only after you contracted Lyme's disease and beat it with diet and exercise that you became dedicated to studying the relationship between health and diet. I'd like if you would be kind enough to tell us a little bit about this experience and how you now help so many people.
Kindly, thank you. You know, it's interesting, Ava, because when I had a property in upstate New York, my dream was always to have a lawnmower, a big riding lawnmower.
Really?
You know, and just take my time and mow, 3/4 of an acre and enjoy it. So I was out there one day and, would mow it slowly, and then the next week mow it a little bit faster, and then the week after that, just get it done as soon as I could.
Right.
But it's kind of ironic because here I am just, mowing some grass that sometimes would get a little taller than it needed to be. And being that it was a 200-year-old farmhouse and it was a restaurant that I had for 13 years, I need to keep it up. So I'm
Sure.
out there mowing just normally, and I actually never knew I got bit by a tick.
Well, how would one know, really? I mean, I've seen them very
small, yeah.
small.
And some people show rash, some people show some sort of sign of, a bite.
Right.
And I never had that sign. But I started to get fatigued when my energy level was always up. My vision would kind of go periodically. My memory, well, being from the 60s, I could understand that. But my memory would go sometimes. And then joint ache, back ache.
Yes.
And what the spirochete does, which...
Spirochete?
Yes, it's in the shape of it's a bacteria. It's in the shape of like a paisley shape.
Okay.
Okay, kind
Like
of
we're
like
wearing.
what we're wearing. Yes. and and it has a tail. And what it does
like a
is,
sperm.
right? And it attacks the cell. And basically, what it does is it harbors. It loves if you're drinking alcohol, which I was. It loves if you're drinking coffee, which a lot of people drink.
Really?
And it loves if you like sugar. So all the things I craved, it would just harbor on. So it got worse. And I knew friends of mine that had been bit up north because it was near Connecticut and Massachusetts. And so I had I had several testing because it was very new back then. And they didn't.
What year did you contract it?
This was 1983.
All right. Okay.
When it was first kind of
when it first
a lot of deer in the area, big hunters.
Deer
area.
ticks is what
yes,
are the culprit, right?
And just a little baby tiny thing, but very powerful. Friends of mine were wheelchair bound.
From it?
Yes. I was about a week away from getting an IV that I would have to walk around with for the rest probably of my life.
Oh my God.
I basically had fainting spells. I was pretty much on my deathbed. And I was taking a drug, an antibiotic that was about $5 a day, every day with no insurance, you can imagine back then. And just depleting my entire intestinal flora and everything that I had in my body to fortify myself. So I was pretty scared.
Jesus.
And at that point, I was like panicking and going, I got to do something about this. And definitely not the medical way.
No.
So I did some research.
Right.
And I found a rhizome. Rhizome is derived from a root. Any rhizomes are, and there's several different types of rhizomes. And this was from Europe.
Wait a minute. Rhizome.
R-H-I-Z-O-N-E.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. What exactly is that?
Well,
That's the first time I've ever heard that.
Phytonutrients that we're going to talk about eventually
sure.
are plant derived.
Right.
And when the Pilgrims landed, the Indians were not hiring. So, the Indians knew about medicines, and most of them were from plants.
Right, of course.
And if you go to the Amazon, the plant that will kill you 30 feet away from it is the antidote. So this was kind of unique because what I had discovered, and was pretty excited when I discovered it, that there was hope. And I always say when there's hope in the future, there's power in the present.
Right.
And I pretty much... Well, I'm sitting here.
Yes, you're here.
I healed myself.
And you look wonderful. I mean, you look
feel
very
I'm
healthy.
175. I'm just very well preserved for my age.
Great looking for 175.
And, the exciting part was there are cures out there.
Sure. So that, again, how do you spell that?
Rhizome, R-H-I-Z-O-N-E.
People
and
out
you
there.
can go online
it's
and just
amazing
look
how
it up,
common Lyme's disease is right now.
Oh, it's just, it's so, and you have to be careful.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, they took my urine, they flew it out to California someplace because they studied it frozen. I was getting a positive, negative result. You have it, you don't have it. Well, let's just put you on this medicine. So I didn't know any better because I was desperate. Tore up my entire system, got rid of all my intestinal flora. I wasn't assimilating any of my food. I had no
You're
strength.
suffering from malnutrition
Right,
then.
and you know, everyone says, well, go to the store and buy a yogurt. Well, you know, great, but what yogurt are you eating? And I realized through all this and the learning process, which we'll get into in the show, is that you have to know your source. You have to know your source, you have to know manufacturing, you have to know how it's derived. It's very important that you do the research and you study.
You can't eat casually anymore.
And you know, excuse me, the best thing is to get testimony, because not everything works with everybody. You know, there are, you know, cancer cannot live in an alkaline-based body.
I know that to be true. That's exactly right.
You know, here I am sitting, walking, living testimonial that there are breakthroughs and there's great things and there's alternative ways that you can do it. And I had to totally build up my flora, and we'll get into that when we start talking about oxygen in the blood and stuff like that. So
cool.
I don't know what else to tell you.
Well,
but I'm just very grateful and thankful.
All right, and so it launched you on your path, right?
Yes.
Which is often sometimes what crises can do. They change your whole life.
And it gave me the knowledge and wisdom to empower other people. And that's what I do.
Because it comes from an authentic, from an experiential.
Exactly. So I have a lot of empathy for people that are having challenges.
Now, Chef Chasky, we hear so much these days about phytonutrients. Pardon me. Phytonutrients, for those at home who may not know, are non-nutritive plant chemicals that contain protective disease-preventing compounds.
Exactly.
Their role in plants is to protect plants from disease, injuries, insects, drought, excessive heat, ultraviolet rays even, poisons, pollutants in the air or soil. They form part of the plant's immune system. The question to you is, why do we need phytonutrients, and what do they do for us, and what foods are best the sources of these phytonutrients?
That's a loaded question.
All right.
Okay. So I'm going to
dissect it if you'd
like.
like.
And being a guy, you know, I'll have to multitask.
Yes. Okay.
So, you know, it's very interesting because when you talk about the plant itself, plants need sunlight, plants need oxygen, plants need nutrients. For instance, our soil here in Florida, very high in phosphorus.
Is that right?
Yeah, so you see a lot of things are cut down to nothing in the season by landscapers, and I'm always wondering, why did they just mutate that? And then it comes right back. And how does it come right back? Well, it's got the best tropical sunlight. It's got the best moisture and salt in the air. Salt's a big component in growth. It's a component in us too, because we have 82 trace minerals in sea salt, and we have trace minerals in our bodies, and we need that. And I'm going to get into a little bit of that with phytonutrients, because people kind of freak out when I talk about sodium, but the right sodium, like the right fats, are crucial. The right plants and the right derivatives are crucial. When I had Lyme disease, I went alkaline. So I cut the acid out of my diet because most people crave acid. Right, most people crave acid. You know, most things ferment.
It's addictive.
Exactly. A lot of things that we eat ferment and turns into acid. Causes reflux. Causes indigestion. Causes heartburn. And causes ulcers.
That's right.
And then when that stuff spreads, so, you know, it's like, well, I don't want to eat my broccoli. I don't want to eat my spinach. You know, don't. But don't complain that you're in the hospital. You know, someone said to me today, well, Craig, can I buy something that's cheap? Sure you can, but what's your deductible when you go to the hospital? You know, so is it worth to make the investment, like we were talking about, in good foods? You know, so phytonutrients are plant-derived, okay?
Are they specifically vegetables?
Mostly vegetables, yeah. Mostly, I mean, they're edible flowers. You can eat nasturtiums, organic. You know, don't be eating flowers outside your house that have been sprayed. So, you know, people take me literally and all of a sudden go outside and start doing that. But, you know, you can eat marigolds. Great.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I think I might have mentioned pansies.
Marigolds.
Yeah, are great. There's some mums that are very edible. When I did really nice flowers for my catered events.
And you can put them in salads.
And they're gorgeous, yeah. And I use rice wine vinegar, which is lower in acid too. But back to the phytonutrients.
Right.
It's very, very important to, and I believe, do everything in moderation. You know, don't go out there and just become a fanatical. You know, because your body doesn't know the difference. Your mind doesn't know the difference until you start educating it, telling it. So in moderation, and do some research. So, you know, greens, anything that's alkaline based, broccoli, spinach, Swiss chard, kale is very high in iron.
So vegetables, it seems to me then, that are a little bitter. To the taste would be more phytonutrient rich.
We were talking about celery earlier. Someone said, you know, I buy celery stalks all the time. Said, try celery hearts. It's the inside. And a lot of the stuff that we tend to peel on vegetables, that's where all the nutrients are. Right.
I know that's true in potatoes, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I always mash potatoes with the skin inside.
Lemon is the only fruit that starts as an acid, turns into alkalinity in your body.
Yeah, they say that if you eat lemon rind, that's a very antioxidant.
Well, it's got the bioflavonoids and the pith.
Yeah,
the white part, which is a little bit bitter, is actually very good for you. And if you ever see Greeks cook with lemon all the time, as well as their skin is gorgeous.
Yes.
So I always put lemon in my water whenever I go out.
Oh, my father is he's a great advocate of lemon, and he's like 83, and he's fit as a fiddle.
That's awesome.
So now many people suffer from another disease called celiac, right? Disease also known as gluten intolerance.
Exactly.
Right? And there are so many products on the market now that are made for this specific disease, for people suffering from this disease.
Right.
So could you tell us a little bit about what foods are helpful in maybe curing, if not curing, but at least helping this condition, and what we can do about it?
I will, but I'm going to just put a little history into that.
Right.
So years ago, if you were a vegetarian,
right,
it wasn't hip. Because
how many years ago?
Right,
well, I know I've been one since.
Well, we were talking about a restaurant that was a vegetarian restaurant in New York that a lot of people.
The Cauldron.
The Cauldron. But there's a lot of mystique in this whole thing, because I started a vegan menu at a restaurant that I'm working out on the island, and it's a rib place. So imagine you're sitting down eating ribs at Mr. Bones, and then right across is someone that's eating vegan.
Right.
Because a lot of people have different needs and different desires. What's so important about celiac, and it used to be a minority, and now it's becoming a majority.
I noticed that.
I'm going to kind of go into this a little bit later in the show, because our foods are just harvested differently today. Things have grown differently. Our grains are different today. Our dairy products are different today.
So the grains themselves are actually producing the disease now, the way that they're grown. I believe that.
Grains are smaller now.
I believe that.
I'm going to just segue into that for a second, because our global warming is depleting the oxygen on our planet. The fish will be smaller next year because it's taking the oxygen out of the water. So we have to, when we talked about phytonutrients produce oxygen in your blood. If you have celiac, or if you have Candida, or if you have anything that a wheat allergy is, the wrong protein is fighting, your body's fighting the system. What you need to do is become more alkaline based, and you need to eat the right foods. Quinoa, for example.
Oh, that's very popular now with the health nuts, right?
Quinoa has more protein than a steak.
Really?
And there's so many different things you can do with it. Now, there's different...
It's delicious too,
right.
by
and
the way.
there's controversy around it because a lot of people I've talked to, it's toxic before you pan roast it. So I always recommend pan roasting it before...
You're kidding.
No, before you eat it, yeah.
So it's toxic and you have to roast it? No kidding.
And I'm just going to elaborate on that a little bit.
That's
Do you know what
extraordinary.
aromatics are?
Yeah.
Okay, so you have scallions, leeks, onions, garlic, shallots.
Yeah.
There's gas in a lot of foods.
Right.
And so we tend to eat too fast.
No kidding.
And I know I'm talking to you guys out there. So, what you need to do is, the old saying was chew 100 times. I don't like baby food.
Right.
But, if you chew at least 10 times, the enzymes in your saliva break it down.
Right.
And we think we're sharks, so we'll eat like a whole tire.
Yeah.
And we expect our whole digestive system to break it down.
Yeah, or like a lion. A lion eats
exactly.
and gulps the food down.
And your stomach can only do so much. And then your upper tract, which is where you see a lot of guys that have big bellies, that's from all the wheat and the yeast that's fermenting in there.
Dear
It's
God.
not just beer.
Not beer. Well, beer is one culprit, right?
Well, beer is one culprit, but beer also has hops and yeast and wheat and all that
All
sort of
good
stuff.
stuff.
And so everything in moderation, of course. But just back to people that are having challenges with celiac, be careful and do your research on your gluten-free items and make sure that they are from a good source, because there's a lot of sources where there's cross-contamination. There's also a lot of sources where the grain is not pure like it should be. So you have to make sure that the tapioca or the rice or whatever you're eating is from a good source.
And how do you do that?
You spend time and you make time to do it if you want to be
Like
on this
Google?
planet.
Or
You can Google it, yeah, absolutely. And what I do is, sometimes I'll just go for a report, either Better Business Bureau, or if the farm is owned and the harvesting's done there and all the work is done there, instead of people, that blows my mind. They'll go to some club and buy their vitamins, or they'll go to the local pharmacy place on every corner because I want to save money.
Right.
Well, look at the binders and everything else. It's crazy. I did an event, a major catered event outside in upper New York State for 1,500 amateur photographers, and I had to cook where there was no electricity. And they had porta-johns on the outside of this event to accommodate the amount of people. And at the end, when they take them away, they sift the solid waste from the liquid waste.
Right.
And in the solid waste were literally mounds of vitamins that never got digested.
Unbelievable.
It's crazy.
Well, I find that when I've, of course, in my history as a vegetarian, I've had bouts where I've tried all kinds of vitamins and gone on these sort of regimes.
Exactly.
And I never felt worse in my life because I didn't feel as if I was digesting it.
Exactly.
And in fact, what I was feeling was that I was playing with my own chemistry, and I didn't have the knowledge to know exactly how to balance my own body. Whereas food it's built in.
Exactly. And you were shocking your system to the point where it was freaking out.
Yeah,
So if you took a vitamin that was phytonutrient derived and plant derived, it breaks down in your system so quickly, it disperses, you're able to assimilate it. But what I do is I build my intestinal flora up before I do that. So you've got to take the right bifidus, you've got to take all the cultures, all the yogurt cultures. So do your research. If you're taking a green drink and some of them have a lot of good cultures in them, you're on the right path. But then again, in moderation, every other day.
Yeah.
Just break it up a little bit.
Well, since we're talking about various illnesses and things, I thought, well, why don't we talk about Candida? Because this is another disease that is becoming more and more common. In Hawaii, I knew a gentleman who was dying of Candida, completely crippled by it, and he had tried everything in order to help himself, and it was just getting worse. So, could you talk about that?
Sure can. Well, first of all, Candida I only thought women could get.
Yeah, because of the
yeast,
vaginal yeast infections, right?
Men actually can get Candida, and what I had to do when I got it, because you become what you eat. and we actually build resistance up to what we eat. And so if you're eating bread every day and you're craving pasta and cheese, and I know you're out there and you do because I did. I always say when the fingers
Who
point
could not?
out,
It's so delicious.
Right. When the fingers point out, you've got 3 pointing back at yourself.
Right.
So, bottom line is you've got to be able to switch it up a little bit and do, your diet to the point where you are rotating. And rotation is so important. So to beat Candida, I had to eat soba noodles, all wheat-free, all yeast-free. I couldn't eat melons because melons produce, bacteria and yeast. Berries, all the...
Yeah. Salmonella is also
that's just
common in cantaloupe, of all things. You would never think.
Oh, I know. Well, things have changed drastically today. Our soil's depleted. We have leaching from other farms.
Yeah, and GMOs.
You're right, GMOs, radon
destroying
is in the
food.
Water. People are pouring stuff in their garbage cans. Nothing drives me more crazy when people don't recycle.
Yeah.
Our kids have to have a future here.
Yeah.
And we are an example to them, so start eating right.
Well, that leads me to my next question because according to Ayurveda, everything is edible, can be classified to one or more 6 basic tastes: sweet, sour, salty, pungent, bitter, and astringent, right? Yeah. If you sample foods that correspond to each of these tastes throughout the day, your meals will provide a wide assortment of health-promoting nutrients. Would you agree with this system of eating?
Absolutely.
I do too.
Acid and alkaline. There's a balance.
Yeah.
I mentioned rice wine vinegar. I love salads. I could eat salads every single day. So I'll put grapeseed oil on it and rice wine vinegar.
You mentioned that you, to me before, of course, that you really liked grapeseed oil to cook with. And why is that?
Why?
Yeah, tell me.
Great question. Okay. Right. So grapeseed oil is very high in omega-3s.
Okay.
And we need to incorporate, I'll talk about dairy in a minute, which is a nightmare. But the thing with grapeseed oil is that it's high in linoleic acid, vitamin E. It's an antioxidant. Its smoke point is 450 degrees. So you can cook on the grill with it. You can bake with it.
Fabulous.
You can pan saute. You use so little of it. And the beauty of it is, we tend to adulterate olive oil in this country. The Italians laugh. I'm part Italian. So I just laugh at people all the time because they cook with it too high a temperature. And most stoves in Florida are electric. So if you get the temperature up too high, you don't know what to do with it, except best thing is pull the pan off. But when you get the oil shimmering hot, like if you get down an eye level and you can see it moving out like a river, like snakes, that's when to put it in the pan. Put an item in the pan, whether it's vegetables or fish or whatever you're cooking, because sauté in French means to jump. And you want to seal that nutrient. You want to keep the enzymes, to their highest possible potential. You want to do everything you can in your power because you're spending your hard-earned money on this food to get a good result. Okay?
Of course.
So grapeseed oil is a great oil to cook with. It's also great for your skin. It's great for your hair.
I mean, to eat it or to put it on your skin.
You could do a little bit of both.
You could do both?
It's just, it's just a great.
Women are always looking for hints like that.
I know.
Yeah. All right, great. So that's a wonderful thing. Now, we were going to discuss dairy. You had mentioned it before. What is your opinion about dairy?
Very controversial subject.
Oh, yes.
Where I had my 4-star restaurant in the Berkshires was in dairy country. It was in between 2 great ski resorts, right outside Great Barrington, Massachusetts, and right at the New York border. And it's just very picturesque, very, very beautiful.
Oh, I imagine.
And in the valley were a lot of dairy farms. There were conventional. There were also organic ones. And it's funny because the best hands to hire of my associates were from farms. They were early, they showed up on time, they knew what hard work was, and they were just great, great people. But I would always hear their stories about their dads working so hard in the fields, and whether it was Holsteins or, regardless of what kind of cows. If there was a smidgen of any bacteria in the milk, the government would come in and dump everything. This is unpasteurized.
Yeah.
This is raw milk.
Raw milk.
Which
there's an entire campaign that the government is now launching against raw food and raw food manufacturers. I know that.
Craziness out there.
Yeah. California particularly.
The milk today, I personally believe this, and I'm going to be teaching a lot of this at the Y in January with kids, YMCA.
Okay.
Yeah. There's more osteoporosis today with children.
Oh my God, really?
Than there is with adults. And a lot of it, I believe, has to do with the hormones and the bacteria, the casein, and if you're drinking it every day, remember you become what you are, what you eat.
Sure.
And it just builds up so much resistance. Our bodies naturally produce mucus. We don't need any more mucus.
No.
And you know what's so funny? We look at how brittle our fingernails are, our hair is, our lips, our toes, all that sort of stuff. It's because of the lack of omega-3s in our diets. And it's lubrication. It's just like glucosamine with joints.
Right.
Your joints and the bone marrow is being depleted because of the amount of dairy that we're taking in. Causes migraines, also causes invisible heart disease.
What do you mean? Invisible?
Basically, when your arteries are become clogged up and you don't know it.
Oh, I see.
And you're not doing anything to flush that out. And that's why phytonutrients produce oxygen in the blood and get rid of it.
Yeah, so
again,
green vegetables.
Our bodies are amazing vehicles. They know how to ward off certain things.
Absolutely.
So if you're adding...
If you step out of its way.
Right, and I made my own gelato. I could sit in bed with a gallon and just pig out. But, it's that much more mucus.
Yeah.
And the thing, and asthma and kids breathing. This kid the other day was in my cooking class, and it sounded like he was snoring.
Oh my God.
And I looked at his mom and I said, I can help you if you want. I always like to get permission. If I knew a way to help you out, would you want me to tell you about it?
Right.
Because if I don't get permission, I'm not working with you.
Well, people are very, resistant about food particularly. It becomes something very personal to them.
Exactly.
And ethnically as well. My parents are Hungarian, and they only eat Hungarian food mostly. I mean, sometimes they'll stray here and there. Right. But it's what you were taught as a child. That's the foods that most people keep eating the rest of their lives.
And they were natural.
Yeah.
Back then it wasn't.
It was natural back then. It was good back then.
Ava, when I was born in, I don't care.
You can tell. No,
I was born in 54.
54.
And no crow's
I was
feet.
born in 52.
No
so
crow's feet here.
You're a young man.
But I am, and I'm just getting better. So when I was born, there was 500 chemicals in foods.
Okay.
There are 10,000 chemicals in foods today.
Oh my God.
And when I did radio, I used to do drive time, and the question was, that I would say it was food for thought. If you can't, and don't do this while you're driving, please, but if you can't pronounce that word on the back of that bag of potato chips,
don't eat it.
You shouldn't be eating it.
No, absolutely not.
And someone told me today, if your third grade teacher can pronounce those words, then eat it.
Well, I don't know if that's a comment on third grade teachers.
There are good teachers out there.
Yeah. All right. So that, I've been a vegetarian since I was 14 years old.
Excellent.
And I've just given my age away, so you can calculate.
That's right.
But, yeah. But what is your opinion about a strictly vegetarian diet? I don't eat fish or...
The biggest complaint, I think, is, am I going to get enough protein? Am I going to get enough energy?
Sure.
Or I'm too skinny. Oh my gosh, what? I can eat a salad and totally be content and not go to bed bloated and feel totally fortified and feel good. This mentality that's out there, I'm full. Was it scrumptious, succulent, mouth-watering, nutritious, any of those things? Did you take time? Most people I talk to don't even remember what they had for lunch yesterday.
Yeah, it's such a non-event.
Well, you're so busy trying to make a living, you have no time for life.
Yeah.
So you've got to slow it down and smell the roses.
Right.
And it's very important, you know, I mean, you got to get your vegetables in there. You know, I knew a guy the other day, he has sleep apnea, and he has all these disorders and challenges.
On top of sleep apnea.
Right, and his diet, steak and potatoes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You
got carbs, and you got acid.
Right.
And then you got fermentation. You have to promote oxygen into your blood.
It's like a formula for poisoning yourself.
There's water all over the place
Yeah.
here. You got to drink water.
Yeah.
You know, because your blood will produce the oxygen that goes to your organs. And the bottom line is your bone marrow, your skeletal system, needs all that. Very important.
But I've always heard the complaint from people that they can't maintain a vegetarian diet because they don't have the energy from it, which is, I can't understand that, because I've never been without energy my entire life.
Right.
And I've always eaten just fruits, vegetables, grains, legumes, and that's it. And I've managed very well. And I think it's mostly psychological.
It is. And I would make you a protein drink. And chia is very big right now.
Chia.
Chia is extremely
like
important.
the chia doll that grows.
Which, if you rub some on my head, it
yes.
might work. But seriously,
yeah.
I have to have fun. But, you know, the bottom line is flaxseed high in omega-3s, chia high in omega-3s, great fiber. You know, you make a shake with that, and you throw a banana in there.
Now, is chia like a because it looks like a sprout?
It is. I mean, when it does germinate.
Yeah.
But, you know, the seeds,
so chia seeds.
Seeds are great for you.
All kinds of seeds are great for you, aren't
yeah, they are. But now there's someone out there that's going to say, you know, they have diverticulitis or whatever it is.
Diverticulitis.
I'm glad you can say it.
Yes.
All right. So, you know, they've got to watch their nut intake. They've got to watch their seed intake. So what you've got to do is, like, I just made lentil fritters with chickpea flour. So they're vegetarian and vegan. It's actually on my site.
Okay.
But very good and great protein for you. So if you're telling me, I mean, I know you're not, but if you're saying there's people out there that don't get the energy, give it a chance.
That's what I say. Give it a chance.
You know?
Do it for a few months.
Date it.
Yes.
If you're going out on a date, it's not one date you make the decision.
Yeah.
I mean, we have done that before. But, you know, you got to give it a chance.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I absolutely agree. Now, are there specific? We've mentioned chia and some others, but can you think of really highly potent, nutritious foods that people could eat on a regular basis to kind of provide the...
Well, this is what I do. If I'm watching a game or some documentary or, you know, just hanging out reading, I'll open up some organic chickpeas, rinse them well, and then I'll use Spike. Spike was from the 40s. It has 39 herbs and spices in it.
Yeah.
No MSG, sea salt. So you're getting all those different herbs and spices in there. It accentuates when it hits moisture. And there's my protein from my chickpeas and my energy. And I'm hypoglycemic.
Right.
So I eat like a rabbit all day long. I'm just eating meals
Constant,
and meals and meals and meals.
So you don't eat a large meal.
And most people don't trust me because I'm not 400 pounds of a chef.
You're in great shape.
Right. Well, you know, you just got to kind of do everything in moderation.
All right. But give the folks at home an example of, like, what you do, like the kinds of foods that you like to eat. Yeah.
You would be exhausted. Well, basically what I do is breakfast is the most important meal of the day.
I never eat it.
A lot of people don't, and then they wonder why 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And a lot of people get nauseous, but just do something. Even if it's some good bread that's been toasted with some almond butter on it. And almonds are wonderful.
Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah, or cashew butter.
Or cashew butter.
And if you're...
I don't eat because I teach yoga in the morning, and I can't. I have to keep my stomach empty.
Just bring a snack with you. Bring some trail mix. You know, I always keep a snack in the car.
All right.
Because we're running late. We run on these agendas, these schedules, home to work, work to home to work, work to home. You know, just keep something around. And then
so you don't choose bad food instead because you're starving.
Exactly. And don't settle for less.
Right.
You know, I mean, French fries, you know, and then these chain restaurants where they're eating the same shrimp dish every single week.
Right.
You know, shrimp is good to a point, but if you have herpes, it's a killer for herpes, and you're wondering why you're getting blisters. It's because the toxins in there, and if you're eating farm-raised shrimp, God bless you, because I can tell that's a whole nother seminar on farm-raised we'll get into one day.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, there was a diet that was prescribed by this physician who said that it was based around salmon, and because of the omega-3s,
Exactly.
and he claimed that you would retain your youthful appearance more if you ate frequently of salmon, wild salmon. What do you think about that?
Look at you ever seen a brown bear? How gorgeous are they?
They are, yes.
And what's their diet?
Salmon, yeah.
I mean, if
I
had hair like that,
North.
maybe I should start eating more. But you know, the bottom line is sockeye, wild caught is very, very important. There's actually farm-raised salmon in Norway that is done in outside beds. So not all.
So they're given.
They have room, and not only that, but they're actually exposed to the best elements. There's bad elements. It's just like the sun.
It's just like being stewarded.
It's just like the sun. Vitamin D.
That's interesting.
Is utilized in your body through your liver. You got to get 40 to 45 minutes of sun a day.
I absolutely agree. You can see my tan.
You have
I'm always
great skin color.
always outside.
But you know, 3-4 hours in the tropical sun down here. Let's get real. You're asking for trouble.
Oh yeah, definitely. But most people avoid it completely. And now the talk is from the medical community that any kind of sun is bad for you. And then if you go out, then you lather yourself with this, protection from the sun that has so many of those chemicals that can't be pronounced, that it's absorbed into your skin.
You're right. Now the other thing is, excuse me for interrupting.
Sure,
I want to interject. You got to exercise.
Well, of course, yeah, because you need the oxygen.
You were a surfer and you taught surfing
Yes.
and all that for many, many years. You know,
lots of exercise.
And swimming's great, biking's great. I ran track professionally.
Aerobic exercise is very
vital. I ran track
vital.
professionally for 3 years. My knees, are not what they used to be. But
so what kind of exercise do you do now?
I do ecliptic machines. I do low impact, high impact, low resistance. Do a lot of reps. My exercise takes no more than 20 minutes. I do 10 minutes of...
Per day?
Yep. I do 10 minutes of cardio, and then the rest is... And I have a personal trainer, and he's awesome.
Oh, well, that would be nice if we had one in our pocket.
That's right.
I'm my own personal trainer.
That's great.
That's right.
I used to only work out at home. I never went to a gym.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to do that whole scene.
Gyms are difficult.
Yeah. So that's okay. Now I'm getting over it.
Good. Well, we're coming up to the final phase of the...
okay.
Yeah.
You have some more good questions?
No, I think we've kind of gone through all these questions.
Excellent.
So what I'd like you to do now is, if you'd be kind enough to speak a little bit about your site, and maybe if you're doing any events or anything that you want to get out to the public. Excellent. Or if people would like to use your catering services or such.
Well, I am a private chef. I also work currently at a restaurant called Mr. Bones on the island, and it's been there 25 some odd years. We make everything from scratch. The barbecue sauce takes 5 hours to reduce. And the potato salad is made from scratch, the coleslaw is made from scratch, and it's good and it's awesome.
Where is it located?
It's right in Holmes Beach on Gulf Drive. Yep.
All right.
You definitely want to get there. And we have a vegan menu.
Oh, that's excellent.
So come check it out.
Yeah, for you vegans there at home.
I do a boss of fish that is absolutely outstanding with infused lemongrass and grapeseed oil.
See, as a vegetarian, when I eat out, I'm always disappointed. Right. Because I just get steamed vegetables. That's all they give me. Right. And it's so boring.
I do a tamari veg that's really, really nice. Tamari is a low sodium soy sauce.
Yeah.
and it's wheat free, so
Right.
it's good.
Yeah.
And it's vegan.
Yeah.
Okay, I have an event coming up at the Selby Library in January. I think it's January 9th. And
It's a
that's
beautiful
huge
garden.
venue, and my publicist, Kenny, is going to be working with me on that. Also, November 10th at Ravel Academy, which is a fabulous ballet facility. We're doing a dinner, which will be an international tapas that I'll be creating with national talent in ballet, some incredible professional performers in music. And it's just going to be a great venue, and it's a great cause for a guy who's just getting over cancer. So, and that's at Ravel Academy, and that's in Sarasota.
Oh, that's
Okay,
excellent.
you can look it up online.
Sure. Go ahead.
I'm going to be teaching at the Y starting in January. I'm going to be working with after-school kids, handling some of their challenges that I can't get into right now, but I'm going to be helping them out.
All right.
And recreating the intimacy with the family. So we're going to be doing some family cooking classes. I'm also going to be working with seniors. So if you're bored and sick and tired of being sick and tired,
That's very interesting. So
good.
family cooking classes, so that everybody participates and they cook a meal as a family. Well, isn't that a nice way to bring a family together?
Absolutely.
Through food.
Exactly.
Which is, I mean, I remember as a child always having, running away all day long and playing, but at night we had to be there for the dinner.
Right.
And help mom and set the table, and it was really a very beautiful thing. And people now don't do that.
No.
They are all over the place with their computers and this and that.
Everyone's doing
Everybody's
this. I went to
doing
a dinner the other night, and everybody was at the table on their little, iPhones and what have you. What happened to the communication with the eyes and the mouth? I grew up. My dad, you had to wait for him to be seated. You couldn't lift your fork till he said grace.
Yes, we had the same
kind of restrictions. And had to be asked permission to be excused, and our conversation was at the table. I want to bring that back.
That's it's a really beautiful family tradition that's been lost.
Exactly.
And I think I mentioned this to somebody today, and they said that it's impossible to accomplish that in the modern world. And I don't think that's true.
No, it's not.
So you're going to be teaching family cooking, right?
And some etiquette.
And some etiquette. And etiquette.
Mm-hmm.
All right, good.
I'm going to bring the romanticism back into the world.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. And then, what's your website?
Well, it's being built.
Oh,
It's
okay.
under construction, but you can find me on Facebook, Craig Chasky.
All right.
And friend me, and as long as you're a friend, you'll remain a friend.
All right. And on your Facebook site, do you give recipes or
Actually,
anything like
I just
that?
gave out the lentil fritter recipe. I just did an incredible Thai class. So I had the pad Thai is not on there yet. I did a vegetarian one, and I also did
I'll have a look.
seafood.
Good.
But there's a great recipe for a curry chicken salad, and the fritter recipe is on there. And there's a lot of great events that I do in town with different chambers that I highly recommend you come and frequent. And would love to talk to you, and if you have any questions, it'd be great.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much
My
for
pleasure.
being here this evening.
Quite welcome.
And your knowledge is quite valuable to our audience. I appreciate it very
My pleasure.
much. And I want to thank everyone for joining us here in Beyond the Matrix this week. And until next week, let peace and love be your guide.
Be sure to hop on over to the Spiritual Broadcast Network. It's the go-to place for all things spiritual. You'll discover internet television shows that you won't find anywhere else. You can also choose from hundreds of hours of spiritual documentaries and movies. You'll enjoy on-demand and live internet television programming 24/7.
Now,
Best of all, we add new dramas, comedies, talk, and reality shows and more on a daily basis. So why spend countless hours searching the web when you can quickly find just what you want on the Spiritual Broadcast Network?